English translation, Second Contact. Monday, 3rd February 1975, 22:10 Hars.
You astonished me after my first attempt, for your receptiveness to my thoughts was much greater than we had calculated. Actually, we should have been used to surprises with you for a long time, because in the course of the years you have proven time and again that you think very far. Even though your thought processes are often very extreme, they nevertheless get to the heart of the matter and find solutions to problems that remain locked away from your contemporaries. Actually, you already amazed me on my first visit in that you remained silent and did not ask when I gave you the various explanations. With this, I am thinking of the explanation about space, time, and null time. At least there, I thought that you would have a question. But then I took the liberty of researching in your thoughts and found that you really had no question because you understood my explanation, even more than I told you. Even for me, your mode of thinking with regard to the spiritual and material directions is tremendous and phenomenal, which I have not yet found with any earth human. So far, they have all been knowing and able to think only in one or at most 3 directions, whereas you are able to think in all kinds of forms. You really take second place to us, in hardly anything, if one disregards the knowledge that you call book knowledge or school knowledge. As you yourself always say, however, this kind of knowledge is not of very great importance. Rather, only the spiritual knowledge and the spiritual essence of wisdom are decisive, as you have already recognized for a long time. And you are truthfully great in your knowledge, in which you do not lag behind us. Quite the contrary.
You are embarrassing me, Sim Yase. Everything from you today seems to be just geared towards praise and flattery. I do not love that because it seems primitive to me. So please, no more.
You are very open, as we are used to from you. But I do not want to praise or flatter you, as we too have long gone beyond those things. I am only making clear observations that correspond to the facts, just the way you like to make them yourself.
Then I am relieved and satisfied.
Do you now no longer think that I am primitive?
Certainly not. But why do you not search for that in my thoughts? Or should I perhaps apologize?
But I do believe you, and I do not expect an apology from you. Apologies are only empty words anyway, and seldom reveal the true mentality. On the other hand, I do not perceive your words as an insult because I know exactly that you only say what you perceive or feel. To your fellow human beings, your words may seem insulting, but only because they do not know and thus are not able to recognize that you speak exactly according to your feelings, which are guided by your knowledge and your essence of wisdom. Therefore, many things must also seem very primitive and even lowly intelligent to you. Always keep in mind, however, that the majority of your fellow human beings cannot think spiritually and cannot act in this form because they have never learned this and are still too caught up in the web of purely human instincts, wishes, hopes, and so on. If I want to research your thoughts, then I do so only when it seems important to me. It is not the manner or the desire of us simply to penetrate into the thoughts of others when this is really not important. Moreover, we all have no right to penetrate into the personal secrets of others. If one penetrates into the thoughts of others, then there is always the danger that one will learn more from it than was originally intended. Therefore, if we, too, would disregard this recommendation, then we ourselves would know how to interpret your very last thought processes and secrets, and you would not always be able to astonish and amaze us over and over again.
What about so-called UFO contactees claiming that their friends from the stars would only communicate telepathically between themselves?
Certainly there are such creatures who only communicate telepathically. However, their communication was telepathic from the very beginning, or else they quite simply let their spoken language wither away. To our knowledge, however, Earth's space has never been approached by beings whose means of communication were purely telepathic. On the other hand, it has to be noted that these so-called UFO contactees who claim such things have certainly never been in contact with human or other beings from outer space. They are simply deceivers and charlatans.
I have thought about the notion that the vast majority of these so-called UFO contactees are supposed to be nothing but deceivers and charlatans. On what fact is this your claim based?
On pure facts that can be proven at any time. All the wannabe contactees allude to our being on a mission for God and the Christian religion, a malicious lie that is devoid of any truth.
What about the other contactees?
Despite the many deceivers and charlatans, there are many who have really had or still have contact with us. But countless of them have never had more than just visual contact with us. Thus, contactees who only saw our beamships from a distance and were also often able to photograph them. But only very few had personal contact with us, and that is still the case even today. Most of them, however, wrap themselves in silence because they fear their fellow human beings. Already often, beings from foreign races have come to your Earth and have undertaken their expeditions here. They collected various things that could be of service to their investigations. And it will also happen again and again that such beings will come here and pursue their studies. They come from the most diverse worlds and systems. They are often still new in the field of travel in outer space and, therefore, carry out expeditions to expand their knowledge and cognizance. Thereby, it can happen that they unintentionally come into contact with the Earth humans, only to in such a case never come back again. They do not crave power and the like, as they are glad that they finally have serenity and order in their own worlds. With them, it can also happen that every now and then they take some Earth humans, bring them into their beamships, and examine them very closely with their apparatuses and determine their anatomy most exactly. However, they let these human beings go again without exception, as they do not want to harm them. They are often more humane beings than the Earth human. But unfortunately, rather barbaric beings also travel outer space and come to Earth every now and then. Many among them are power-hungry and evil. With them, it can happen that they kidnap and abduct Earth humans, also other planetary human beings of other systems, and bring them to their home planets. There, these poor creatures then lead lives as exhibition and experiment objects. The Earth human and all other inhabitants of other worlds must beware of these creatures, for in their maliciousness they often use the worst form of gavolt. Feelings and other human traits and impulsations are often foreign to them, so a life means nothing of value to them.
That is all very interesting, Simya-se. But somehow I have known this for a long time already.
Sure, I know, because you think very far.
Good, good. Now please tell me one thing. You have already spoken multiple times of deceivers and charlatans, who have gone public with their fantastic UFO contact stories, and still continue to do so. Can you tell me some names?
Certainly, but you know most of them by name.
Nevertheless, kindly name at least some of them for me.
As you wish. With whom should I begin?
In the first place, I would be interested to know about Kenneth Arnold. Am I right that he was not a deceiver?
Certainly, this man was not a deceiver, for he had really seen our beamships. Also, many other pilots have encountered our or alien ships. But the greatest deceiver was the man who called himself Karl Michalek. And the man who gained world fame under the name George Adamski in no way took second place to him. Even his so-called fellow workers or friends belong in the same category. This means those who, together with him, allegedly had contact with us. Other names are less well known but still have a certain significance because they are deceivers: Harushi Tsukamoto, Gerald Baker, R.O. Schmidt, C.A. Anderson, Angelucci, and many others.
Thanks, that is already enough. Are they really all deceivers?
Sure, and you know that as well as I do.
You are right, but how can one prove that they are deceivers?
We could prove it, but on your part, you should not try that, for the Earth human can only be convinced of the truth with great difficulty. Their consciousness-based intellect is too low for that. One day, they will have to find the truth themselves, and only then will they take it in as knowledge. At present time, the individuals who are the least agreeable to recognize and disseminate the truth should be those who had allowed themselves to be deceived by deceivers and charlatans for decades, and who had sacrificed millions for the dissemination of the stories of lies and books of lies. For them, a world would collapse because they would have to recognize themselves as deceived and would have to disgrace themselves in front of the public.
That is plausible, but how, then, should I run against it? I will not be believed if I reveal the truth.
Do not be concerned, because you belong to a circle of thinking human beings who will help you. I will tell you the names that are important to you, but keep them for yourself and never mention them. 7 names and exact addresses follow.
Are these names enough?
They are enough, and now my time for this occasion is up. So, I will leave you, and, as usual, will transmit my thoughts to you again at a later point in time so that you can write them down.